Across Europe, rivers have sunk to historic lows because of brutal heat waves fueled by climate change. In Britain, conservationists are urging the government and water companies to plant trees and restoring wetlands to counter devastating droughts. Meanwhile, the source of the legendary River Thames has dried up and moved several miles downstream, further than it's ever gone before. Special correspondent Malcolm Brabant has been in search of the vanishing headwaters.
Normally you find the source of the Thames near this pub 100 miles west of London. Now the name is misleading because this aquifer has run dry. Alistair Knowles works for a non-profit, striving to make Britain's rivers more resilient.
What's special is the limestone. About 65% of the water that comes into the Thames is coming from down there. We're taking too much out and we're not allowing it to be this great big lovely cool shading watery sponge that it's always been. This is so much greener than it was just 4 or 5 days ago. It was just ochre. If you're kind of used to the Thames in London, which obviously it's such a big iconic famous river, if you visited London and want to know where it starts there. So if we just come down here, there you go, that's the start of the Thames. It's maybe a little bit underwhelming, but this is the source of the Thames.
In normal times, what would we see?
Well, in normal times you would see this. This source does dry up each year, pretty much. But you can come here when you've got normal levels of rain and you've had a normal wet winter, and we'd be stood in a pond.
We headed east along the river's normal course. Deep water, there wasn't a trickle. Moisture from recent light rain had evaporated, but eventually there were signs of life near a meadow in Cricklade, known as the first town on the Thames. So at last I'm standing in the River Thames and we found flowing water, but we had to drive 8 miles from the original source towards London to be able to find it. At the moment the water is up to my ankles, but in better times it would come up to my knees. Mainland Europe has been similarly afflicted. In Serbia, the Danube is impassable in places and no longer blue, shrunk by heat and water extraction to help this year's harvest. The stresses on nature alarm marine expert Marija Trivunčević.
The circumstances are dire. Although it hasn't been the worst yet, the trend indicates that things will only get worse.
France's longest river, the Loire, resembles a Mediterranean beach. The consequences could be disastrous for vineyards reliant on its water. In Italy, the River Po's low levels have hit hydroelectric power production, commercial shipping, and all manner of agriculture. In Switzerland, shrinking glaciers, rivers of ice, are another spectre of looming catastrophe. This year, the melt at the Morteratsch Glacier is twice as bad as the previous worst case. Belgian hiker Lisa Nate.
We talk about it, you don't see it always in nature, the consequences, and now you really see it like, oh my God, I was here like 15 years ago and now the snow is gone and the rivers and the mountains are not there anymore.
Rivers are a very, very good barometer as to the health of the natural environments, and when rivers dry up, there are significant consequences for all other ecosystems.
Dr. Lawrence Wainwright specialises in Europe's blighted rivers. Coming to Britain from hot Australia was a shock.
This has been a huge wake-up call for the UK and for all of Europe, that this is not some far-off, distant thing. You know, it's not our children's children. This is now, it's very, very serious. The consequences are potentially devastating across all aspects of society, economically, socially.
The consequences will be particularly dire for Germany, Europe's economic powerhouse. Barges carrying German goods to the sea along the Rhine are bearing lighter loads or have stopped completely because the river is now so shallow.
The last time this happened in 2018, and mind you, this time is worse, we saw one of the quarters of economic growth go down by 0.5%. And that may sound quite small, but it's very, very significant. We're talking billions of euros here. And the biggest problem, of course, is that we combine this with all of the other compounding factors going on at the moment. Rises in cost of living, inflation, this energy crisis, and this surge in energy bills around the world. So things are already in trouble.
Back to the Thames, halfway to London, and hydrologist Hannah Cloak.
So you can see here that the water level is very, very low.
The levels have been exacerbated by abstraction to compensate for Britain wasting 20% of its water through leaks.
We've been taking a lot of water out of the rivers as well to irrigate our crops in terms of keeping the crops growing and making sure they've got enough water, but also for drinking water and industry as well.
Evidence of the crisis is in the colour of the landscape.
It's quite interesting to see the autumnal colours of these trees. They're dropping so many leaves, yellow, brown, blackened leaves that the trees are dropping in response to this heat stress. So when we think about rivers, you've got to think of those blue and green arteries that flow through our countryside with life in them and all down them, and all of that life is under stress.
Critics accuse water companies of maximising profits and not investing enough in rivers or infrastructure. So what can be done?
We've got to really plan, invest in putting the wetness back into nature, because it is very, very good at managing water. It's done it for 4.5 billion years. Put trees back in the right place. Let's bring back wetlands. Let's create wetlands. Let's allow our peat bogs to thrive. All of these environments hold water.
Can you feel that?
The rain, yeah, it's great, isn't it? But it's not enough. It's not enough.
Heavier rain should help the source of old Father Thames to come back here, but the fear is that being parched will be an annual event. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Malcolm Brabant in England.